I'm still me. And folks give me that echo too. You're still you. Like, yeah, I am still me. Because a leg is not the totality of who I am. That's a body. Your disability doesn't diminish you at all. In fact, it amplifies you.
Today, I am super excited to chat with Dr. Donna R. Walton. She's the founder and president of the Divas with Disabilities Project. Founded in 2012, Divas, which stands for Dynamic, Illuminated, and Victorious Achieving Sisters, is a global movement committed to increasing the participation and authentic representation of Black and Brown women and girls with disabilities in all areas of life, especially in mass media, television, film publications, advertising, and civic engagement. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Donna. How are you?
You're welcome. I am glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me for this wonderful interview.
Yes, I'm super excited to learn about your journey and how it shaped the organization today. So for those who don't know, this mission and the organization is super important to you. I learned at 18 you lost your leg to cancer. What inspired you in 2012 to start the Facebook group?
I was just constantly hearing my echo. I was hearing my echo. Where are the people? Where are the women like me? Are there women like me? Where are the stories? I just don't have any examples, because when I was going through my surgery, there were no examples. Not one role model that I could say, oh wow, I could wear a dress, or oh wow, what type of, can I still get the jobs that I'm interested in? Or can I still act? Can I still perform? What will I be able to do? There was nothing. And so one day I was on Facebook. This is when the early times of Facebook. And I just started talking, like, just kind of writing. I think it was a Facebook group or something like that. And I just noticed that I was just getting this feedback, that some women would just like fight back. And I'm like, oh wow, and it just somewhat grew to, I was just always searching for these women. And then it just happened. It just really happened that these stories, people were, women were coming back, saying, oh, I lost my leg at this time, or, I have mental health, I have mental illness, or, I use a wheelchair, and just all these things. And so when I created the Facebook group, it wasn't really like formulated, but I found that it was getting this traction. And so I decided this needs to be something. So this young woman I was working with at the time, she said, you really got something here. You need to call it something besides women with disabilities. And so we came up with Diva. We came up with Diva because we wanted to see, well, first of all, she said I was a diva. And I didn't really think I was. At first I was like, no, I'm not a diva. She said, oh yeah, you're a diva. But then I said I needed to have, I wanted something of substance to really formulate what diva really meant. And that's how this sort of acronym was decided, that it was, dynamic, illuminating, victorious, achieving sisters who are out here handling their business, showing up unapologetically, boldly, right, in their spaces, trying to live out their life with joy, right, in the way that they could. And so that's how sort of the Divas with Disabilities movement, if you will, sort of began. It didn't become a nonprofit organization until 2017. And then when I got incorporated, I started to bloom, if you will, and expand the movement to whereby we have these monthly Diva calls, and we have, sort of different other programs. We were able to support COVID during that time, but a lot of programming things that happened. But primarily it was to show that women with disabilities have a safe space, if you will, that they can share their experiences and relate to other women with the same lived experiences.
When you think about like the emotional and physical challenges that you had to overcome, if you could just open up about that, and then how it ties into how Divas with Disabilities Project shows up for other divas.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Okay, so there were obstacles from every direction. Okay, living with a disability, you confront what's called, we coin it, or some coin it, triple jeopardy, whereby you have the discrimination biases on three elements of your life. For me, it was being Black, female, and disabled. And so when those discrimination biases are showing up in those sort of phases of your life, you absolutely sometimes have to now always separate which is operating. And when you live in this world, and in the intersection, you live at a very difficult intersection of being Black, female, and disabled. And there and I'll tell you, because it's primarily, you never know which one is operating. You never know if you're showing up and you're being discriminated because you're Black. You never know if it's because you're a woman or it's because of your disability. So it's always this conflicted, confusing sort of way by which you navigate your world. And so essentially, these experiences really shape Divas with Disabilities because we knew, understanding that Black women, we experienced these discrimination biases. We had to have a place by which we could express and have a place where we could show up and have our voices heard and be able to tell our stories, be able to relate to each other's experience to gain strength and empowerment, and to also self-advocate, because that's really, really important. And so that when we show up at the table, if you will, and we make sure that we are at the table, that we have a voice and that we're seen. And also too, because I had such a difficult time making it into the mass media spaces, I really wanted to use Divas with Disabilities as a platform to elevate representation in mass media spaces, such as television, TV, film. We want to definitely be in that space because we want to make the stories.
What advice would you give to someone who maybe they are, they just came upon having a disability and they're trying to navigate it, or they feel like they can't live a fulfilled life? Like, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. And, I think that I had to write this one down because I would want to tell these women, take your time, take your time, that your life isn't ending, it's shifting, right? It's shifting. And it's okay to have these feelings. You could be overwhelmed by all the feelings. It is okay to have these feelings because you are whole. You are not the sum of you're more than the sum of your body parts. You really are. And that you are very worthy and you deserve to be seen, and you're still you.